So up to now, we've talked about pounds, ounces, and yield percentages. Now let's talk about the most important variable, our money. As a chef, you don't just cook food, you manage your assets. Every ounce of cheese, every grain of rice has a dollar value attached to it. Today we learn how to calculate exactly how much money goes into every plate. So we're going to learn how to determine the cost per unit. So if you buy a 50-pound bag of flour for $20, you need to know exactly how much 1 pound cost. Going to define cost. In our industry, cost doesn't mean what you paid at the store. It means the value of the ingredient used in a specific recipe. And then we'll solve for the total cost. If the recipe uses 3 ounces of an ingredient that cost 50 cents an ounce, the total cost will be $1.50. So when we order food, it comes in all shapes and sizes, by the case, bags, gallons, dozens, by the each. But the recipe doesn't ask for 1/50th of a bag. They ask for 1 pound or 1 cup. To find the cost of a recipe, you must first find the unit price. This is the price for one single unit, 1 pound, 1 egg, 1 ounce. Without this, we cannot cost a menu. So let's look at this problem. You buy a 5-pound block of Applewood smoked cheese for $55. What is the unit price? The question here is asking, what's the price for 1 pound? The math on that would be the total cost divided by the number of units. So it's $55 for 5 pounds. So 55 divided by 5, and we have $11 per pound. Now we have a usable number for our recipes. So let's look at these bulk prices. On row 1, we have white sesame seeds. It's packed 4 per case, and each container is 5 pounds total. So the total weight for 1 case is 20 pounds. Each case costs $67.78. We are looking for the cost per ounce. So how do we find this? We have to find the total ounces because our units have to match. So 20 pounds times 16, because there's 16 ounces in a pound, equals 320 ounces. The next step is to divide. So we have $67.78 divided by our total ounces, 320. And that gives us 0.211. So our answer, after we do our rounding, is 22 cents per ounce. Look at the next one. Jasmine rice comes in a 50-pound bag and it costs $29.99. We are looking for the cost per pound. So there's no conversions that need to happen. We just do the $29.99 divided by 50, and that gives us 0.599. We do our rounding, and the answer is 60 cents per pound. Now look at the brown sugar. It's 50-pound bag, and it costs $84.49. We want to know the cost per ounce. So how many ounces are in 50 pounds? It's 50 times 16, and that equals 800. Step 2, we divide. We take the $84.49, divide it by 800 ounces, and we get 0.105. So our answer is, after we round, 11 cents per ounce. So let's look at this scenario. You buy a 25-pound bag of flour for $26.50. You make muffins that use 5 pounds and 6 ounces of the flour. How much does the flour cost? Does it cost $26.50? No, because we have lots of flour left over. Is it free? No. It costs the value of the flour you actually put in the bowl. So we would need to calculate the value for the specific 5 pounds and 6 ounces. So in the food service industry, cost is defined as the monetary value of the amount of the ingredient used in the recipe. We do not assign the full price of the bulk bag to one batch of muffins. We only charge for what we use. The rest of the flour sits on the shelf as inventory, which is an asset until it is used in another recipe. So write down this formula because this is one that you'll use a lot. Number of units times the cost per unit equals our total cost. We have to remember the golden rule here is that our units must match. If you have pounds of flour, you must multiply by the cost per pound. You cannot multiply pounds by cost per ounce. It does not make sense. Always match your units first. Click on the link and there'll be a short video explaining the total cost formula. So let's look at this problem. The recipe, we need 3 pounds of cheddar. You buy it for $11.19 a pound. So check your units. Do they match? Yes, we have pounds. We have pounds in our quantity, and we have cost per pound. So the math would be the 3 units that we need, so 3 pounds, times the cost, which is $11.19 per pound. So the answer is $33.57. This one was pretty easy because the units already matched up. So let's look at a real world problem. A recipe calls for 12 ounces of cheddar. The cost is $11.19 a pound. Check your units. We have ounces and we have price per pound. Do they match? Nope. So what do we need to do? We need to convert one of them. So let's convert the 12 ounces into pounds. Okay, so we're going to use the bridge method. It's 12 ounces to the pound. So 12 divided by 16 equals 0.75 pounds. So now the units match. We have pounds to pounds. So let's calculate. 0.75 pounds times 11.19, and that gives us 8.3925. It's money, so we're going to round up to $8.40. Now let's look at a more complex problem. This one has 3 steps. The recipe needs 6 cups of shredded cheese. You buy 5-pound blocks for $55. Let's check our units. We have cups and we have price per 5-pound block. Nothing in this problem matches. So first step is we have to find the unit cost, right? So $55 divided by 5 pounds equals $11 per pound. For step 2, we need to convert the quantity, which is cups, to a weight, which is pounds. We need to know the density. So we look it up, and the fact is that 1 cup of that cheese equals 3 ounces. So recipe calls for 6 cups. 6 times 3 equals 18 ounces. So we want to convert the ounces to pounds because that's what we already have. So 18 divided by 16 equals 1.125 pounds. So now we can calculate the cost. We know that we're going to be using 1.125 pounds, and that for every pound it's $11. So 1.125 pounds times 11 equals $12.38. So this is the food cost form. You'll need to become pretty familiar with this. This organizes your math. Okay? Recipe quantity is 6 cups. Using the bridge method shown in the middle box, we're converting the cups to 1.125 pounds. Then we have the cost is 55 by 5 pounds becomes $11 per pound. Then we have our extended cost, the final answer, $12.38. Using this form prevents us from skipping any steps. So let's cost something expensive. Let's look at saffron. So the given here is 0.5 grams of saffron costs $12.99. Part A, how much is 1 gram of saffron? Well, if 0.5 grams is $12.99, then 1 gram is double that. So $12.99 times 2 equals $25.98 per gram. The second part of this is how much does it cost for 1 ounce? So we use the bridge method. We know how much grams are in ounces. So 1 ounce equals 28.35 grams. The math here is 28.35 times 25.98, and that gives us $736.53, or 54 cents rounding up. So let's look at an inventory order. We buy 29 wheels of Parmesan. Each Parmesan wheel weighs 85 pounds. The price is $15 per pound. So step 1, we need to find out the total weight of our order. So 29 wheels times 85 pounds gives us 2,465 total pounds. So now let's do the cost. We know that it's $15 per pound. We ordered 2,465 pounds. Multiply the two together, and that gives us $36,975 for 29 wheels of Parmesan cheese. All right, our last problem. 5-pound bags of garlic is $30.76. This recipe needs 3 ounces. So step 1, we need to find the unit cost, so per ounce. So the total ounces in a bag of garlic. How many do we have? There's 16 ounces in a pound. We have 5 pounds. So 5 times 16 equals 80 ounces. We paid $30.76 for the bag. So 30.76 divided by 80 equals 0.3845 per ounce. Okay, don't round yet. So let's calculate the cost. The recipe calls for 3 ounces. We know how much it is per ounce, so 3 times the per ounce cost is 3 times 0.3845. And that gives us a total of 1.1535. It's money, so we're rounding it up. So it's $1.16.